Hey guys, it's Key here from KegLand and just talking to you about Keg Post today. Now most of you are familiar with the normal keg. This particular video is our new multi-post, which basically goes on gas and liquid. So most of you guys are pretty familiar with these types of posts. This is a standard Cornelius post, I guess. There's a few different shapes and sizes out there. On this side I've got the liquid post, and this other side I've got the gas post. Now although they look very, very similar, the actual posts themselves are machined slightly differently, and that's so they can't be interchanged. So if you get a gas one, it only goes onto this one with the score in the base. And if you get the liquid one, it only goes to this one without the score in the base. And that goes onto the black ball lock disconnect. Now, if you're a newbie to kegging, almost certainly at some stage, you've accidentally put this on the wrong one and you've jammed it on. You can probably already know how hard it is to get that back off again. So yeah, the other thing that we've recently come out with is this one, which is a multi-post. So as you can see, we've actually got two score marks on here. So this one will fit both the gas, but it'll also fit the black ball lock disconnect as well. Now, we don't want to put these on all the kegs as standard because there's a good reason why we make them like this. This is actually to protect your regulator and to make sure you don't accidentally mix your gas and beer line and cause damage to your draft system. With that said, for some of you guys who are a little bit more experienced and a little bit more careful, you may want multi-posts, and I'll explain a couple reasons why later on in the video. If you're often using home brewing kegs, which use these ball lock disconnects, but you sometimes use commercial kegs, you may want to have your commercial keg couplers set up like these. So as you can see, these posts are very similar. We've got two which look almost identical, except one has a score mark on the base, signifying that's the gas one. So you can see that's the gas one on here, on the keg coupler. So that means I can take my ball lock disconnect off my 19-litre Cornelius keg, for instance, hook it onto the keg coupler, and then I can switch between 19-litre homebrewing kegs and commercial kegs really easily.
Okay, now here's an example of where you might find the multi-post quite useful. So we've got a mini keg sitting here, right? And a lot of guys out there are familiar with these. I've got a ball lock tapping head, and as you can see, the gas ball lock goes on the 45-degree angle coming in the side there, and that's where I'm going to hook up my gas from my CO2 gas cylinder, just pushing out the beverage. And then obviously the black ball lock disconnect goes on the top dead center to extract the liquid. That's where the dip tube's connected to. So that goes to the tap, and then I dispense my beer, and happy days. So everyone's sort of familiar with that traditional type keg setup, I guess. The way that we can also hook this up is by daisy chaining two kegs together. Now the benefit of this is, for instance, we can get a big keg like this, like a Cornelius keg, for instance, and we can have the beverage essentially come out of the big keg, go into the small keg, and then go to tap. That way we're always keeping the mini keg topped up, and then we can take that to parties and stuff like that. But in order to do that really well, I'm going to explain to you why we need multi-posts in this type of setup, or why multi-post is a good option. So we've still got our gas cylinder and our grey ball lock disconnect, which goes into the main keg, I guess. That liquid comes out of the liquid post into the black ball lock disconnect, and then daisy chains to another black ball lock disconnect. So I've got like a, some people call this a jumper lead, I guess, where it goes black to black with a bit of beer line in between. So the liquid's coming out of this one, and then it's coming out the dip tube out of one keg, and then going down into the dip tube of this mini keg. So it's filling from the bottom up. And the good thing about that is it's not splashing around everywhere. It's going from dip tube to dip tube. But then the problem with that is then we've got to hook up a tap like this. Now normally if you get a tap and you hook it up like this black ball lock disconnect wouldn't normally fit onto this gas post, which is on my mini keg. But the reason we want to do that is we want to hook up this tap so it'll start by drawing all the gas out of this mini keg first. As the liquid level rises and fills up this little mini keg, then it will start drawing the beer out of the mini keg. And that way you're always going to keep your mini keg full and ready to go. So you can disconnect it and take to a party. But yeah, if you didn't have a multi-post on this side, what we'd have to do is then have a grey ball lock disconnect connected to our beer line going to the tap. And the annoyance with that, I guess, is the grey ball lock disconnects then can't go back onto a conventional setup. So when you switch back and forth, you're going to have to keep switching over this grey and black ball lock disconnect on the end here. So this is exactly an instance why the multi-posts are really, really handy in this type of instance.
That concludes our video for our multi-post. If you've got any other questions, definitely just put some comments below. Sign up to our Facebook page, and if you want to hear about any of the new stuff we're working on, definitely subscribe to our video in the bottom right-hand corner there. All right, thanks guys. See ya.